So today we continued our look at solving systems of equations. Today specifically we were looking at a technique called the equal values method. And what we discussed in class was the fact that if in the context of this particular problem or any problem, it may be the case that there's one variable that's equal to itself. For example, it makes sense in this context if I'm trying to find the value xy that makes both of those equations true. It's certainly true that y has to equal itself. So what we can do is we can isolate y in each of these equations and then make this true. So if I look at the second equation, it tells me that y is negative 1/2 x plus 4. Well, if I replace y in this second equation, right, it would become, I could write negative 1/2 x plus 4. Now, what I would like to do is something similar with the y from the first equation. I would like to get this y alone so that I can put it here. And if I have that, then you'll notice I'll just have an equation with just the single variable x, and I can solve for x. So what I'm going to do is take this equation and rewrite it so that y is alone. So the equation that we start with is x minus 2y equals 4. I'm going to subtract an x from both sides. Oops. And when I take away, and probably I should show that for some of us, when I take away the x from each side, this equation becomes negative 2y equals negative x plus 4. And now I can certainly divide both the left and right hand side by negative 2. And if I do that, I have to hit all the terms on the right hand side, so both of these are going to be divided by negative 2. Now when I do that, this ends up becoming y is equal to a positive 1/2 x and then minus 2. So this is a version of the y from the second equation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to replace this y from the statement y equals y, and I get the resulting equation. I have a positive 1/2 x minus 2 is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 4. You can solve this equation any way that you would like and verify that your value of x makes this equation true. I'm going to solve this by multiplying both sides by the number, I guess 2. So both the left and right hand side are going to pick up a factor of 2. When I do that, on the left hand side I get x minus 4. On the right hand side this becomes a negative x and plus 8. So I could add x to each side. So I have positive 2x minus 4 equals 8. Therefore 2x is 12 and x has to equal 6. So I believe that x is 6. And now that I have identified the value of x, I can use either one of the original equations to figure out what y is. I'm going to choose to use the second equation. It tells me that y is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 4. So y is negative 1/2 times x plus 4, because we just found that x was 6. This would make this a negative 3, and negative 3 plus 4 is 1. So I believe that y is 1. So I think our solution is x is 6, y is 1. An important thing to do then is to take this solution and plug it into the original equation and make sure it satisfies both of these equations. And that's a relatively simple task, and I really encourage you to grab a calculator to maybe speed this process. But until you verify that 6,1 makes both the first equation and the second equation true, I would be reluctant to move on. But tentatively, I believe this is our solution.